What's up guys, welcome back to Al's Fish Tales. And the last video I did, I realized that my phosphates were extremely high, and even though in my head I wasn't overfeeding, I definitely was overfeeding. And so that's just something to consider when you have these smaller reef tanks, is how much more sensitive they are than a freshwater tank where you can basically feed as much as you want. Now yesterday I went through and kind of emptied this tank with the overgrowth into some of my other tanks. I have CO2 here, but I actually haven't set it up in probably at least a year. So actually this tank is everything you see there is just from 5 cardinal tetras and 2 twig catfish and some snails. I've just kind of let that tank go and just let it do its thing and grow out as it pleases, and I don't really touch it. But when it comes to the reef tank, you have to be so careful because anything you do, it's so much harder for the tank to maintain those levels, especially like the nitrates and the phosphate in particular. And I was, putting, even though in my head I wasn't putting that much, but I was feeding my clowns daily, and like every other day I was using like hikari, like crab pellets and algae wafers, because I've got a big snail in there as well, and some Nacerius snails and blue leg hermit crabs and my sea urchin. And it's kind of fun when he comes up there to feed them. Now I basically am just going to cut back on everything and just feed as necessary, as minimally as possible. I got my nitrates down. I've done 2 water changes since that video. I've got my nitrates down to like 0.5 to 1 parts per million, which is still high, but way better than the 4 parts per million it was whenever I filmed that video. And it just really had me scared. And something to note is, I don't know if my NIM is about to split or what, but earlier it was out right here and it was covering like all of this, and it looked like it was going to like turn into 2 NIMs. It was massive. Let me show you guys my corals real quick and you can tell me what you think. Now I've only had like 1 negative comment on this. No one's actually been helpful about it. Someone from Korea just told me that my coral was going to die. If you're an expert and you can tell me, does my coral look like it's going to die? I don't know. Because to me, it actually is growing. In between these 2 heads here, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little piece of tissue growing in between there that wasn't there before. So I don't know if that's dying or not. To me, it looks like it's growing. And then my zoas, see if I can focus there. Now I know the one in the middle there is extended, so it's trying to get more light. And then the other 2, the radioactive dragon eye, I think that's that one. It's all closed up right now. It was kind of open earlier, but wasn't fully opened up. Those are bam bams down there. That's what those are. But the other 2 have been closed up. The one in the middle, I don't know which one that is. It's yellow with purple in the center. That one has been doing the best. Let me see if I can zoom in. So there you can kind of see that tissue growing in between there. That wasn't there before. So I've yet to have anyone actually tell me, something helpful about my tank. Besides 3D Ocean, I've been in talks with them, and basically, the answer is I need to cut back. And there's a possibility that putting the new substrate in here, even though this tank's 2.5 years old, maybe that reset the cycle on this tank. Also, not impressed so far by this Fluval skimmer. I don't know if it's because the water is so clean now, but it's not doing anything. It's been in here, what, a week or 2? And there was a little bit initially in the cup, but that was before I realized how bad my water quality was. So I don't know, I'm debating on taking it out and putting the second rack in there. Now I did order some Seachem Phosguard and Seachem Purigen. So I'm gonna be putting those in the bottom 2 racks. Right now, the only thing that's in there is thick mechanical filtration, and then the rest right now is filter floss. I also have a bag coming in for carbon. I ordered a 180 micron bag because the bulk Reef Supply carbon I got was way too small for the bags that I bought, and it was spilling through it. So I know carbon's not gonna help with the phosphate, but hopefully the Purigen or the Phosguard helps keep what little levels I have in there now down. I'm gonna do 1 more water change tomorrow, and that should basically knock it out. We'll see what happens. I'm pretty optimistic that will help, and hopefully my corals will survive, but the zoas being closed up kind of has me worried a little bit. But everything else looks okay. My plug from 3D Ocean kept falling out. I did end up using the reef glue from Seachem to glue it in, so hopefully it doesn't come out now. but you can definitely tell whenever that plug is out, like the difference in the flow. The other thing is I've now mounted my RO up here. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this because I film really dark, and then in post editing it kind of brightens things up a little bit. But over here I've now mounted my RO on the wall, changed out all the filters, and I've just been making water up here like a madman. I don't know if that'll show up. It's way more convenient now, and I've got some stuff coming in where I can run the line along the wall and kind of not hide it, but hide it better, and just basically have all my water set up here now. So that'll be much easier to make. Still waiting on my top to come in. It's kind of taking a while, kind of getting me anxious, but I take off Old Faithful so you guys don't have to look at it. Then it goes back on. I've looked up several videos on this protein skimmer from Fluval, and I don't know what the options are for the 13.5 gallon reef tank from Fluval. Like, I don't think there's too many protein skimmers for nanos that will fit this. I know there's more out there, but I think you have to kind of do like a custom, like 3D printed setup or something for them. So I'm not entirely sure what would need to be done, but I was really hoping that it was gonna work well. And like I said, maybe my water quality right now is too good. I mean, I'm not saying it's great, but maybe there's just nothing in it because I haven't been feeding near as much or at all for the past couple days. Something else is I'm also gonna start dosing half the amount of the Red Sea Reef Energy AB+. After I got my levels knocked down today, I put 2 milliliters in there, and I turned off the return pump and just let it sit for 30 minutes. I didn't notice the corals do anything, but it was fun to watch. I should have videoed it because it's like a bright green that goes in there. I'm sure you guys know that dose it. Some people say it works, some people say it doesn't, some people say it, you know, feeds bad things in your tank. I think as long as I think I'm only gonna do the 2 mils once a week. That way it's half the dose, and it says to do that daily. I'm just gonna do it once a week, so hopefully that will help the corals. And then once I'm sure that my water levels and parameters are all good, I'll do that, and then probably target feed reefroids as I used to do, but I'm gonna do way less because before I was just kind of willy-nilly just squirting it all over them and being like, well, that's good. But apparently reefroids can cause your phosphate level to spike as well, which is probably where most of it came from, honestly, because I didn't really feed my fish that much, but reefroids I went super heavy on, which is what I noticed in the protein skimmer. So I'm thinking that was probably the issue for my super high phosphates, was I was just doing too many reefroids. I mean, I was even giving them to the nymph if there was some left, or putting them on my sea urchin. If I saw my blue legs walking around, I would put it in front of them. I didn't even think about it, and I just put it in there thinking, oh, everything will get eaten or absorbed or whatever. Well, at some point that's gonna backfire, of course. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see what happens. This thing is keeping me on my toes, that's for sure. Not like these freshwater tanks. This thing is taking it out of me. I gotta say, so far it's winning, but I'm trying to stay on top of it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.